When Sean submitted the donation deck list for this video, they sent me a message and was like, hey, don't cut the Brimaz. I love Brimaz. It's my favorite card. I mean, do you think I'm going to cut the Kitty Cat King of Oreskos? No way. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video, and I've got a sweet one for you today. Sean has asked us to play with a blue-white energy list, and here is their paper deck list. Now, due to budgetary reasons, this does not have Tundra. For the purposes of the video, I will rebuild it. You know, Tundra is pennies on Magic Online or something like that, so we will play with an optimized mana base online. But Sean did ask me to tune up the rest of the deck as well. The big appeal to being in blue is Mockingbird. So this is one of the better clone effects ever printed, and doubling or tripling up on your Guide of Souls and Ocelot Pride effects can be very, very strong. And in addition to that, you can also copy your opponent's creatures. They've got a Tamiyo, now you do too. They've got a Bowmasters, now you do, and they don't. We get to... Oh, we'll use the other art for the real deck. This is good art, but this is not my Brimaz. This is not my king. Brimaz is a sweet card. There is increasingly more Lightning Bolt on Magic Online. People think the blue-red Delver, Quarry Steel, Cutter style decks are pretty good, so Brimaz is not totally crazy. There might be other cats that you want to play instead, but the 1/1 cat tokens that you are making here are going to trigger Ajani's ability. We also have the opportunity to play with some strong hate bears here that people might not be expecting. So here's what the deck looks like after my tune-up. We threw 4 Tundras into the mana base here to kind of smooth out the opening turns. I think if you are on a lot of basics, it becomes harder to play your white cards while doing days at the same time. So I have been hyper-conservative here and gone down to 2 basic lands. It is possible that I should go a little heavier than that in one direction or another, but we're going to go heavy on fetch lands and go slightly lighter on wastelands. And the big change that I made to the deck is adding in Tamiyo. If you think a card maybe should be banned in a format, you should probably be playing that card. And I think Tamiyo is very, very strong and is on kind of a, maybe not a top priority in Legacy, but I would call this card on the ban watch list. It is very powerful, and it kind of falls into those tier of cards like the One Ring, where these cards are cracked, people are building decks around them, and Tamiyo plus Brainstorm, obviously pretty hot. So we are going to take some pressure off of our own life totals against opposing X1 creatures with Tamiyo's plus ability, while using the front side to get card advantage, which is something these energy decks often don't have. So we are going to be hyper low to the ground, and Mockingbird is kind of like a 1-drop that has some flexibility. As far as the sideboard goes, I'm going to take Clarion Conqueror out of the deck and add Null Rod. I think I want to come down a turn earlier versus the One Ring Mystic Forge style combo decks, and the turn matters a lot versus combo as well. Clarion Conqueror is very strong, and it has like the added text of being a 3/3 flyer versus things like Dragon's Rage Channeler, if that matters, and shuts off Nadu nonsense as well. But this feels important. Other than that, we have a little bit more removal. We are going fair with our Graveyard Hate in this capacity and kind of hoping that our counter spells do some work in making us not lose to Reanimator instantly. And we have a lot of white removal to take the creatures out of play, so the resolved creature is not the end of the world. And with that, let's just go ahead and hop into a match here. This deck looks pretty good. We'll see how it plays out. I think I got bodied the last time I played Energy. Folks, if you need any cards here, you need your Mockingbirds, you need your Null Rods, you need your Lavinias, your Meddling Mages, check out THOAmagic.com. Promo code ThrabenU saves 5% on your order. They've got 100,000 cards on their website or something crazy like that. They have individually scanned high-end cards if you want to know exactly what you're getting, but they also have like 95% of all standard legal stuff in stock too. So, let's battle. Yeah, I am in for this hand. I would really like to draw another land. I can get Tundra and play Guide of Souls into Ocelot Pride backed by Days, but if I get another land, I get to do that and Mockingbird one of my 2 creatures as well. All right. That is occurring. Maybe we can cut off a critical card with Daze next turn. Sheltered by Ghosts is an okay card. I don't have the mana for it right now. Let's throw down Guide of Souls. Daze is really awkward here in that it might be perfect, or it might just kind of totally get ignored by my opponent producing too much mana. Saga. Saga's good. Play Grim Monolith. Full Guide Lantern. That one resolves. That one doesn't do much versus me. Yeah, opponent's just gonna convert that into a card immediately. That makes sense. Alright, come on, land drop. That's basically a land drop. Wait, Mockingbird, Guide of Souls? Yes. Copy Guide of Souls. We're going to yield to all energy generating abilities here. I will now use this for Ocelot Pride, gain some energy, go to Punchies, pay the energy, say yes. This hits for 3. And then at end step, we get a cat, which produces 2 more energy, giving me 2 energy towards paying Guide of Souls again next turn, which is absolutely relevant because my opponent potentially has a good blocker here. Another Urza's Tower. Oh, tapping out. Get him with Daze. X equals 1. Oh, hold on. Cast by returning an island. Get him. Lotus Petal? That lets me Sheltered by Ghosts away this Manifold Key. I'm not sure how much that matters. I would kind of rather Brainstorm and then play a 1-drop afterwards. I don't think I Brainstorm off Lotus Petal immediately in case I miss. But, yeah. Ooh, Tamiyo, sure. Bam. Bam. Lotus Petal. Tamiyo. Get energy. Go to Punchies. This already flies, which is cool. I will say yes. I will put counters on Ocelot Pride to gain extra life. Opponent is at 9. Are we at City's Blessing? I don't think so. But I am at enough energy to just make more things fly next turn. The opponent needs to do something crazy this turn. Candelabra is interesting. Workshop. Blaring Fleshraker. Petal. This is Metalcraft for Workshop. That's 3 mana. My opponent can use 1 of that mana to untap the Workshop, which happens. 5 mana. Or Mystic Forge. The opponent has 1 card in hand, so top cards of library need to be bangers here. They're doing okay on mana, though, and have a Manifold Key for the future. Manifold Key can untap Candelabra, also, if they don't find something like a Grim Monolith. Spawn's going down. Or Kozilek's Command, junking Ocelot Pride, making some friends. I am at a lot of life. So I currently have in the air 3 damage, 4 damage, 7 damage in the air, I think. So I will kill over the course of 2 turns. Voltaic Key, untap Candle, sack a spawn to untap Workshop. Karn, the Great Creator. Been a very good turn for my opponent. Let's see what they tutor up. Tormod's Crypt, so they just want to keep going. I guess that's way better than something like Ensnaring Bridge happening. Let's just confirm that I don't have lethal. So I have 3, 4 with the second Guide of Souls, 5 with a cat, 6, 7 with a flying cat. That is not lethal. So since it's not lethal, let's take out a Glaring Fleshraker, put my opponent to 11, go to Punchies. This kills Karn. This goes at face, this goes at face, this goes at face, this goes at face. We're going to make one of these cats fly for a little bit more damage. I imagine my opponent just takes it all here. Like, they either probably win this turn or they lose on my next turn regardless, just due to the amount of power that I have in the air. So keeping these spawns around, I think, makes sense. So we're going to do an untap on Urza's Workshop for a bunch of mana. That's an Ugin. That's real bad. So if my opponent is lucky and has a bunch of colorless cards on top of their library here, I could effectively lose the game. There's Lotus Petal. Uh-oh. So in case you aren't familiar with this, every time my opponent casts a colorless spell, they are going to exile a permanent that is 1 or more colors. So I have lost 2 things to Ugin this turn, and I potentially lose more as my opponent does Mystic Forge nonsense. It looks like my opponent is going for bigger mana, so Use key to untap Candle, use Candle to get Urza's Workshop. Now it's the One Ring too. So my opponent is not going to die to their own One Ring because Ugin just gives them 3 life and an extra card per turn. This is probably the point where I am realistically dead. I think I am going to go ahead and concede here. Kind of crazy that I lost that game, given how good the beginning of that game was. But I just needed more land. If I can cast a Sheltered by Ghosts, I think the game looks very different. Alright, this is why I put Null Rod instead of Clarion Conqueror into the deck. We'll play Lavinia as well. And then I kind of decide how I feel about some of these secondary cards that are all perfectly reasonable. Rimaz is slow here. I think Brazen Borrower is slow here. Ajani and Voice of Victory are all, like, fine. But I think Hate Bears are better. And then I start thinking about how many, like, Swords versus Sheltered by Ghosts sorts of things I want to play. Swords is basically just for Glaring Fleshraker, whereas Sheltered by Ghosts hits just about everything in their deck. What if I cut 3 Voice of Victory? What do my numbers look like then? Let's sort this. This is 21 creatures, which is a little light, but I have Brainstorm and Tamiyo to help. This is highly interactive. I think I'm game. I can keep this and go Lotus Petal, Brainstorm, Fetch, and have Wasteland and Daze available as pieces of interaction. That is essentially mulliganing to 6 anyway, and I think this hand has a lot to fix. This is pretty similar to the last one. I'm going to go Reluctant Keep here and throw back Sheltered by Ghosts number 2. I'm not sure whether or not this is worse than the Lotus Petal potential fetch land hand that I was looking at previously. Planar Nexus. I will probably be wastelanding that. That resolves. Give me a Grim Monolith here. That resolves. I'm going to Brainstorm here in hopes of finding a 1-drop creature to play or a Null Rod or something. Bury 1 Daze, redraw a land. Those were not the things that I was looking for, but it's what I got. I'll wasteland this. Workshop comes down, opponent's passing the turn. I think I am going to draw and then Brainstorm right here. Just get a little deeper and have the ability to shuffle away multiple cards. I would not have seen the Null Rod immediately. Alright, let's assume that 2 lands probably go back here. And I'll pass here. Null Rod's great. I believe I have a Surveil land that I can use end of turn. Saga is very good. That is a 1-time boost of mana. I think I'm going to let that resolve and just have Null Rod permanently answer that. Sure. Mystic Forge, absolutely not. I will Force of Will that. Alright, fantastic. So now I will Surveil with Archive. I don't have a creature for that. That's not bad. I will go ahead and plop down the Null Rod here. My opponent might be able to go Urza Saga Beatdown for a little while, and hopefully I just beat that in a fair capacity. Yes. That's resolving. 2 cards in hand, though, so that certainly could be worse. Alright. 1 problem at a time. We'll take out the Urza Saga. My opponent will get 1 construct out of it, which does do the Glaring Fleshraker thing. I'll change phases and throw down a Lavinia, which I probably trade with Glaring Fleshraker if Glaring Fleshraker attacks. I don't know that it will. That is a very powerful card. So this is going to counter the Lotus Petal, but my opponent still gets a spawn out of it, which means it's still worth damage. And my opponent can't cast things like Ugin and a lot of their big payoff cards right now, which I guess maybe is a reason to keep Lavinia in play. Yeah, maybe I have to keep the Lavinia in play. Ugh. Like, my opponent specifically played this out here. Like, what if Ugin is looming, you know? Mockingbird could be a 2/2. I think I Brainstorm here. I have to draw through all of these, and I can't crack clues right now. Yikes. Oh, I hate this. So, Mockingbird. I might have to double block Construct token. There's lines where I attack with Tamiyo, and then this is a 3/3. This is so scary, despite the fact that I have a Null Rod and a Lavinia. Opponent's got mana. I could take 4 from the Construct attack this turn, attack with Tamiyo, And then only trade one body for construct token, have a 3/3 and a 2/2. My 2 dazes in a row are just very bad right now. Ocelot's command for X equals 1, getting rid of my Tamiyo. That's as big as my opponent can do it for, by the way, because of Lavinia. And now I just know that my next 2 draws are dead. Oh, so my opponent drew into Dismember, at which point I think I am just dead to board. Insane, they're still going. Darn, great. So much for shutting off my opponent's artifacts, huh? I might die this turn. Mystic Forge. Yeah, my opponent can cast that. I'll take 1 from Fleshraker trigger. My opponent can't activate the ability of the Mystic Forge, but they can keep casting stuff. And each one of those triggers is just more damage and growing the construct. At this point, knowing 2 dazes are on top, there is just mathematically no way that I can win. So much for Null Rod. GG's. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com. If you want to see upcoming sets, if you want to understand commander brackets, or if you just want an awesome place to store all, and I mean all, of your deck lists, Moxfield is the place. You can organize all of your decks by folders, and you can even change the views. You like visual, they've got that. You like text, they've got that. Check out my Moxfield Pro Field if you want to see all, and I mean all, of the decks that I've been cooking up. All right, opening hand has no mana sources here. We will mulligan this one. Second one has a single mana source, but multiple dazes to reuse it. This is fine. No idea what to put back. The repeat of the legendary creature seems obvious, but if this is removed, getting to accrue the clues for later is a big deal. I don't know, maybe with 2 dazes, it's unlikely that this does get removed. I wonder if this deck does not have enough lands. Like it was at like 19 and 2 Lotus Petals, which seems fine on paper. Maybe it should be 20 and you like drop a Brazen Borrower or something. We'll see how we feel in a minute. Opponent has mulligan to 5. Misty Rainforest. Lotus Petal. And opponent passes. Mockingbird is another Ocelot Pride. I'll get a clue. Not having the other land drop here means that I only have single days live instead of double days. It also means that I am not playing Ocelot Cat plus Pride. Nope, Cat plus Bird in same turn. So let's get a feel for which combo deck we are playing against. Is a Hedge Maze. Could be blue-green Show and Tell. Could be a Nadu deck that is accelerating. No covered island. And opponent is passing the turn. And not having that other land drop is a killer. I'm going to go ahead and pre-combat Mockingbird while I know that it can still copy an Ocelot Pride. On the off chance that it gets ambushed mid-combat via something like Endurance. Send it. Opponent goes to 18. I go to 21. The clue tokens are neat with Ocelot Pride, right? Does this just get creatures? Nope. You may brainstorm. Yo, this whole Tamiyo thing is better than I thought, actually, if we get to copy the clue tokens that we're making. Yeah, given that, I wonder if we do need more land. So I do need the City's Blessing to get those extra copies for what it's worth there of the clues. All right, just another land drop. Getting nervous. All right. I have like a very respectable board, but this board is so much stronger if I have additional land drops. So yeah, City's Blessing. Yeah, City's Blessing. I have swords and days available. What do I have next turn for damage? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 is not lethal. Well, my opponent mulliganed to 5 and then didn't do anything all game other than cast a Brainstorm and a Lotus Petal. So my clunker of a hand worked out. Am I assuming Show and Tell? Does it matter? Like 4 Force of Wills come in. I will probably do this stuff. And I'll think about these. I think swords just come out. And maybe we do some Sheltered by Ghosts instead. Those are just something that I can put in off of the Show and Tell and then exile a non-land permanent. Let's turn Brazen Borrowers into those. I will need 4 more cuts from here. It's not Brimaz versus combo. We want that versus Faradex. Mockingbird copying Meddling Mage is real. Ajani can probably go. Then maybe trim 1 Voice of Victory. It's okay for helping to resolve some of this stuff. That's fine. This is a hand. This is just a very good mulligan to 5. I think I will ship it. This is fine. I think the Mockingbird goes here. Still have Guide of Souls plus 2 good follow-up plays afterwards. And as much as I want to copy Guide of Souls and do crazy things with it, it might just be more important to do this other stuff. Well, it came back. I'm going to assume that I don't need to be thinking too much about basics here and do Guide of Souls. Imagine we're going to see the Hedge Maze again at end of turn here. What am I scared of? Yeah, this is classic show and tell stuff. They're kind of feasting as far as the card advantage stuff goes, because they have access to like stock up the One Ring drawn from Dreams. Not taking 3 for the land. Playing a Petal out, which is relevant for if I slam Lavinia. Which, as much as I want to play Voice of Victory to make this uncounterable, it is probably just correct to play Lavinia with Daze backup here. So yeah, play Lavinia. Opponent brainstorms in response. Lavinia does hit play. I will send in for a whopping 1 with Guide of Souls, and I have an okay Hate Bear in play. I say okay because my opponent could just hit 3rd land drop and cast a Show and Tell. Like, that is very much just something that can happen here, and that will naturally happen around Daze. But I might keep my opponent from doing, say, Show and Tell into Omniscience, into a bunch of stuff that looks like this. Misty to follow up. Cast Show and Tell. I will Daze it. I will be so happy, and you won't be able to force back. I am just going to counter that. That card is good. Plus, my Daze might not be live next turn, so to use it this turn while it has guaranteed value is, I think, fine. Voice of Victory is cool. I'm not sure that that is cooler than brainstorming and trying to find Force of Will or something. I'm going to put back 1 Voice of Victory for sure. I might be putting back both. Put back Tundra instead. Sure. Land, fetch, Tundra, Lotus Petal, Mockingbird, copy Guide of Souls, Lotus Petal, play Tamiyo, 2 more energy, send it, triggers, yes, counters on Guide of Souls. Alright, opponent's at 12. I have a very respectable clock in play, but I am out of interaction, and Lavinia's time in this world is limited in terms of its usefulness. That's land drop 4 that could have blanked my Daze. Oh shit. Wow, that's a very good draw. Meddling Mage. Opponent effectively can't counterspell because of my Lavinia. Ah, damn, we win that one. Good job, Hate Bears. GG's. This is a weird one. This is effectively a 6-card opening hand where if I use Daze, Voice of Victory is not quickly castable, but I have Meticulous Archive to smooth things out. Ooh. Opponent says they are bringing the spice. I'm in. Let's try it. You gotta fetch. It is a... If you tell me you're bringing the spice, and this is just Merfolk, I don't know how I'm gonna feel. I hope it's Wizards. Voice of Victory, just slam it on turn 1, copy it on turn 2. And yeah, we have the Voice of Victory. And no reaction from my opponent. File ticks up. Okay. Now very interested in my Wasteland. Which is awkward because I want to Mockingbird my Voice of Victory. My opponent does not get to cast... Oh, God, that's such a good draw. I had some other thought there. It's gone. Oh, it is Wizards. THO Alchemist. This was something that came up in my comment section as something that was like super reasonable to play. All right, opponent. You are cooking. Let's mobilize. Opponent's at 16. I will deploy Tamiyo and sacrifice my warriors. Opponent did not have initial creatures to put in. So are my creatures safe? That's fine, you can have that. Are my creatures safe attacking in? My guess is that like roughly 2/2 is where my opponent's creatures are going to be at stat-wise, so I think the answer is yes. We are on voiceofvictory.plan here. Copy and send in. All right, what you got? It is the THO Alchemist. That's fine. My opponent will just block a token, take a little bit of damage here. And now the Aether Vial can do some crimes. I am a little worried here because my opponent does not have land drops, which means that they have creatures in hand. So something like... absolutely not. No. No, I am going to counter just anything that I can counter here. I'm scared. Because my opponent can, like, tap this. No. Oh, it is Nadu. Oh, what the fuck? No. I'm so upset right now. Oh my god, I'm so upset. Holy shit. Oh my god. So the THO Alchemist gets to untap itself to draw cards with Nadu, and then the land pays for days. Holy shit. Like golf clap, opponent. Also took a land out of play, so I can't just copy Nadu immediately. And my opponent can still untap Aether Vial and do something like a Plagon. Disgusting. There's gonna be Shuko in here for an infinite combo too. I'm going to attempt to find a removal spell for Nadu, maybe, so that these can safely attack in, rather than just getting the guaranteed clue token. Alright, so opponent will now do the Nadu things. The THO Alchemist kind of slaps, I'm not gonna lie to you. So it's 2 guaranteed activations. Something is happening. Okay, it's just a cycle, sure. Those aren't great. Put Archive back, and another land back. Transform Tamiyo. Did not succeed at finding a removal spell. I want to fetch to clear. I'll play a creature Tamiyo. The clues might be relevant. I don't get to attack into this unless I want to throw away one of these bodies. I don't think I want. There's like this problem though, as soon as I remove a Nadu, another one just comes in off an Aether Vial. So, life's bad. Can Brainstorm again next turn. Can Mockingbird, fuck. Alright. I'm gonna let my opponent play around a little bit here. They deserve it. Also, I am kind of curious what else is in the deck. Like, I kind of want to confirm that this is Wizards. Aether Chronicler. Also a Wizard. Yeah, I feel like this is an extension of what I have been playing on the channel recently. Tamiyo's great, obviously. Oh shit, Harbinger of the Seas in game 1. Remember a few turns ago where I said something like I probably don't need to be too concerned with basics? Fucking wrong. Aether Channeler. Opponent drawing a card there. I think that's worse than just making a bird, right? Because if you make a bird, that is 2 more cards via Nadu. Step Through being revealed. Opponent now has Force of Will backing up all of this nonsense. The opponent steps through, or Spellseeker. Okay. Go on. Getting Legolas's quick reflexes. Spicy. Saga hits play. Trinket Mage. Okay, Trinket Mage for Shuko is kind of cute. A new Aether Vial. Yeah, no, seems good. Also, my opponent can have THO Alchemist, Aether Vial at any given time. Tamiyo gets knocked down a notch. Alright, opponent is calling that good, so I am going to get white mana. This seems good. Oh, I guess my opponent doesn't get to Force of Will, right? Yeah, okay. I think this is actually quite good. So, Guide of Souls, Mockingbird on Guide of Souls. Yeah. Opponent currently does not have flyers, so I will send in with everyone. We're going to put the Guide of Soul triggers on bottom here. And now I get Voice of Victory triggers, making me 2 friends. We absolutely need to yield to all of these. Now, I make 2 more friends. Fantastic. I will investigate. I will pay. I will make you fly. That is a 3/5. Then say yes. And give you a buff. Oh, I guess maybe I should... No. The tokens being temporary is the thing. Alright, I'm F6ing. You do what you're gonna do here. Cavern of Souls. And a Brainstorm picked up as well. Like my opponent is losing Spellseeker. I'm not sure how much that matters. Oop, nope, not losing Spellseeker. I don't know whether or not there is a Looming Thassa's Oracle finish, like if that is a singleton in the deck or something. Alright, so I'm gonna lose some tokens. I assume bad things are happening to me now. Quick reflexes on a Alpheto Alchemist. Oh no. Oh no. Didn't quite put this together. So now my opponent just gets to gun down my entire board with Alpheto Alchemist. Excuse me. I'm not mad. I'm just impressed. I am torn between wanting to concede, because I know that I am dead, and morbidly wanting to see what else this deck is capable of. Alright, so my board is now dead. Piddling Needle. Name, you are already dead. Okay, fine, we can name the good card. Opponent has a 5/5, now a pair of 6/6s. I'm easily dead over 2 turns here. Tamiyo mitigates a little right now. I'm at 24. I have a live Tamiyo, but Piddling Needle. I am effectively dead. I'm just going to see if my opponent fetches anything cool off Urza Saga, and then I will concede. You can Harbinger of the Seas me. I'm fine with it. Oh, it's Trinket Mage instead. Vile. So for example, if I see a Shadow Spear right here, and I know that my opponent has access to haste, that's kind of a real thing. Hellbomb is good to know about. And then my opponent failed to find. You got it. Those are 12/12 constructs, by the way. Even if I kill one of those there, like, I still get got. Okay. So, my opponent probably has inevitability over me. I would like to get ahead in the early game. Getting ahead and staying again might involve things like Sheltered by Ghosts. I don't know that Force of Will is going to be good. My opponent has both Cavern of Souls and Aether Vial. This is another combo matchup. This is not where we want Brimaz. I guess, do I want Force of Wills? Do I want Meddling Mage? Meddling Mage kind of runs into the same problem that Force of Will does, in that once an Aether Vial gets involved, Meddling Mage kind of bricks it. Brazen Borrower is not great here. The creature side does not line up well versus Nadu. I think Sheltered by Ghosts is better. Alright. That is at least one Force of Will. I can Null Rod. Maybe I should Null Rod, even. Null Rod stops Vile and Shuko at the same time. Do that. Maybe this? Question mark? Oh yeah. I'm gonna keep this. I think I play Voice of Victory on turn 1. And then Guide of Souls on turn 2 with the attack. I'm going to awkwardly get a basic Plains right here in respect of Harbinger of the Seas. Alright, we're in there. So then, unless Aether Vial, never mind. We don't even need to finish that sentence. We now play the Null Rod immediately. Can I let a 1-drop slip into play? A 1-drop could be Tamiyo. Guide of Souls is just so good coming down quickly. Tamiyo's not really a problem if Null Rod happens, though. Alright. That is an okay draw. I will keep that. Guide of Souls. Punchies. Get 2 energy. Sacrifice the tokens. Do all that song and dance. Cavern. An opponent passes. I think this is where I do this. It is Wizard Cycling. What all do you bounce? Target non-land permanent. Okay, got it. And in Guide of Souls trigger on bottom. Always yield to energy generating abilities. Say yes. I think you fly. Hit opponent. They're at 11. There's third land, so opponent can Aether Channeler and then put something else in with a Vial. It is Nadu instead. Okay, cool. This means that I get to do all of my things this turn. So Voice and Null Rod. I can attack with both. Stack the Guide of Souls trigger on bottom. Let I get my 2 energy before this resolves. Now I pay. And Guide of Souls flies, and neither one of these dies to a Nadu. My opponent takes 5, going to 5. I have 2 Null Rods in play. That's not bad. I can't just immediately eat Shuko after Aether Chronicler. Going back to the original sideboard discussion, Null Rod versus Clarion Conqueror, like, very notable difference here. Alright, that is the Channeler, bouncing one of the copies of Voice of Victory, which I will just replay. Rainstorm. Oh shit, Caracas is really good, right? That's just lethal. Seems good. Caracas. Voice of Victory. I'm just going to do a quick check to make sure I don't have lethal already. So, okay. Opponent sees it. This feels about appropriate. I could consider something like Wrath of the Skies as a board wipe for all of my opponents. Nonsense. I think I do need to keep a critical density of creatures, though, so that Sheltered by Ghosts is live as removal. I could cut Brainstorms. That makes my Tamiyos worse. If I cut Brainstorm, I would do, like, a Meddling Mage, Wrath of the Skies, 2 Force of Wills, or 2 Brazen Borrowers. Brainstorm is not great in the first couple of turns, but it is Brainstorm, and in the mid-game, when I flood out, it's a fine tool. Wrath of the Skies is just kind of, interesting. This being basic island is rough. This is just a powerful hand, though. I'm going to keep it, and if I hit an untapped white source, oh buddy, we are off to the races. Maybe I should board Wrath of the Skies for Urza Saga tokens. Alright, Misty and Fetch. Opponent on 6 cards. Grabbed a basic, so I will be thinking about Harbinger of the Seas. Force of Plowshares, not bad. I think I just need to do this one. Another Guide of Souls is not great. I have more white cards than I can reasonably cast. I'm going to junk that one. If I get a white land, I can go Guide of Souls Ocelot Pride. If I don't, I can go Guide of Souls Tamiyo. Carpet's good. Probably 1 mana this turn and 2 mana or more every turn for the rest of the game. Cycle with Step Through, and they need to do it now so they can use the Carpet mana. Getting the Alfedo Alchemist. Okay, that is white mana. I am going to grab a basic plains here in respect of Harbinger of the Seas, which I think might be coming. And this also means that Carpet of Flowers is less good. Let's yield to those. And make another cat, get another energy. Carpet of Flowers trigger Violet 2, which means this can come in. I might need to leave up a Swords to Plowshares for that card. Ooh, I am in for that. Is another Wizard Cycle or Spellseeker, so opponent is trying to set up their combo. I will now do a new Guide of Souls. Trigger. I will send in. I will say yes and put it on the Ocelot Pride. We'll see what happens here. It is the Alchemist, which is absolutely not sticking around. Get out. Cool. So I deal a respectable chunk of damage and have a bunch of energy. Opponent has Carpet of Flowers, but I took them off a land. Spellseeker is live. It is another Step Through. That is the 3rd step. We have a full-on dance. It's getting another Alchemist. Yep. So I will put this in play with no intention of cracking it. Yeah. And yeah. Wait, there's no L. Affetto. So this gives me the energy I need to attack in. I'm just going to do a quick check for lethal. So if I play Tamiyo, I have 3, 6, 9, 10, 11 damage. Not close. I think I'm going to deny my opponent a mana off Carpet. I'll say yes. I will make one of the Guide of Souls fly. And we'll see what happens. I imagine it has to be Spellseeker. Ooh, I am wrong. It is Nadu. I lose Ocelot Pride. Opponent is at 9. Do I now need to play Tamiyo? I might need to play Tamiyo. Shit. In which case I missed a couple points of damage. Alright. I think I am just not guaranteed a win with what I have on board. See what happens. Spellseeker. Just a Brainstorm. Fetch to clear is possible. Going to dismiss this stuff. Dismember? Ooh, Dismember on Meddling Mage. Playing out the Alchemist. Sure. So Nadu blocks this flyer. I get in for 3. I believe I just have lethal. So block. No. So Spellseeker dies. Don't have lethal. I can crack a clue before anything else happens, though. Yeah. Let's put these on bottom. Make a clue. Crack a clue. Brainstorm is not going to change anything immediately. Yes. Things here. My opponent goes to 1. Now this Affetto Alchemist combo could wipe my board. My opponent has 1 card, though. I'm going to save Brainstorm for next turn and drop Null Rod. This gives my opponent 1 more mana, but stops Aether Vial from being live and stops Shuko from being live. We'll see what happens. All right, they do have that combo. So my opponent is going to get to gun down my board. All right, my board is gone. My opponent now needs to get through 33 life in 3 minutes and 30 seconds, while also staying alive, which is not impossible, but it might be tough. Opponent says it's my 5-0 match. All right, I'll make you earn it. Days goes down. I think sheltered by ghosts. Go down. Opponent says time is killing me. It's gonna be tight. I'll type that on my time. There's no way I time out. Days goes back. Sheltered by ghosts goes back. So 1, 2, 3. Where's done? Or did I just not do the correct color? Okay, cool. So Mockingbird. My opponent can do 2 activations in response. Second one gets Urza Saga, which is great. Now opponent can target Nadu. Finds another land. I will get my own Nadu. And the next turn I can either answer Nadu or a THO Alchemist. Probably Nadu. I just attempt to have lethal in the air, right? All I need to do is get 1 point of damage in. I'll take 3. 27. Got red mana. Make a token. Alright, so I now have lethal if their Nadu is gone. That is their flyer. This is going to give me an extra card. I believe is a Daze. That is a Force of Will. Okay, so I get an extra card here. They're going to do their whole thing. I do get the Daze. Now, I play Mockingbird. I get my own Alchemist. I need to check the chat log. Oh, this chat log is gross. But my opponent has not used this ability on Nadu, so this is still live to untap this. So I probably just end up taking more damage if I attack. All right, I get a few more activations here. Spell Bomb is not great. Now my opponent has Urza Saga stuff going. Did not make a construct. Vial is fine. Vial is fine. Spell Bomb is fine. At some point I might just use Daze to... Plagon is in there. A counterable Plagon. I will force a mana here and just throw this back to my hand. Construct token is big. Now this time I might need to just block. Oh no, the fucking Plagon now. I can't block. Ooh. Alright, I'm taking a larger hit than I might like. 18. Alright, Guide of Souls. Now I'm going to Alchemist. Untap my Alchemist. One's got a Flash Wizard. Ooh. Incredibly niche. But exactly what my opponent needed. Swords to... Is this as long as this is on the battlefield? It is. Where is the choke point here? I guess let's get my information. What's coming? Voice of Victory. Voice of Victory is cool with Guide of Souls, but pretty slow. I'm going to get rid of that. I think I'm going to play a Guide of Souls. I'm going to go for a win right here. If I attack and my opponent untaps a THO Alchemist first, not targeting Nadu, I just win the game on the spot. If they target Nadu, I basically lose the game on the spot. I think that's fine. What is it targeting? It is targeting the Alchemist. Fuck yeah. Swords. I think I win now. Alright, so I think my opponent is not timing out here. I believe that I do kill them via Nadu. They said, GG's, I'm not gonna make it. I prevented their 5-0. But man, did I have to fight to do that. GG's opponent, your deck is awesome. I will say, the couple of Lotus Petals here are abso-fucking-lutely doing some work. I'll do Tundra, Petal, and this just lets me play Threat on turn 1. I can bounce something, I can remove something, and I can Wasteland something. I have very good options from here. Misty, Basic Island, Wasteland not online. Opponent is probably a Show and Tell deck. I'd like to draw another Threat. Or a counterspell, I think. 1 top, 1 bottom. Swords is absolutely not what I want. But this is my metaphorical flipped Delver, right? So this is respectable pressure. I just kind of need more than respectable pressure here. If this is Show and Tell. Okay, that's fine. I will bounce that out of play. I think I bounce it out of play on my turn when it is uncounterable. And there's no window here for me to swords this while this is a 1-1. I am good taking out the token. Opponent gets a redraw. I will surveil with Archive. Ocelot Pride is not amazing here. I'm going to junk that. Opponent gets their draw. I will Wasteland this, Petty Theft this, swing in for some damage. Quarry Steel Cutter is such great value. If my opponent just has more land and can replay it immediately, like, things are kind of annoying for me. Nice, they don't. I am okay versus a singular threat like a Murktide Regent, but a Quarry Steel Cutter might eat me alive. I'd like to find something like a Guide of Souls or another Voice of Victory or an Ajani, something of that general nature. Need a new threat. Technically have Brazen Borrower. Another Ocelot Pride. This technically is self-scaling. We'll do this. This is not dazeable like Brazen Borrower is. Wasteland is fine. This card isn't. Yeah. Trying to trade 1-for-1 removal with this is such a bad battle to be fighting. I'm going to take the hit from the token and not swords immediately and give myself the possibility of hitting something like a Murktide Regent next turn. When it looks at my top card, I will probably just shuffle to hide information. I only have Brainstorm in the deck. I don't have Brainstorm plus Ponder. My opponent gets a redraw now. Daze is a little late. My opponent's only taking 1 here, and the monk with Quarry Steel Cutter has trample. Seems good. I don't have Hydroblasts, I don't think. I'm going to rely on Sheltered by Ghosts to deal with these, and I guess I will be boarding in Wrath of the Skies. I think I am successfully getting a Murktide Regent with his swords by waiting. Or I just daze. Get it? Alright, cool. Now opponent might play, like, sword and shield with these, and keep 1 back and attack with 1, which is what's happening. I think I'm just going to take 2 here, and then play Swords to Plowshares around Daze on this remaining one. Well, I found my own Daze here. So Swords a Monk. I'm just gonna stay as aggressive as I can. I think my opponent is incredibly favored to win this game. This Quarry Steel Cutter is just eating me alive. Yes. It's disgusting. I hate it. Like, looking at the pile of cards I've had access to this game, I've had access to a reasonable pile of cards. 2 swords, 2 days as interaction. It was a 3/3 as well. Opponent crashes in. I will take the damage. I'm at 11. Let's try to find some stuff. I could get a 3/3 flyer. I'm gonna put back these 2. Land, artifact, instant creature. Yeah, I can get a 3/3 flyer. Like, my opponent has a Daze. They're fetching. What does that mean then? Are you just surveilling first? Yes. They did lock themselves into red mana floating. I think that just means they're picking up this land. Yeah. So I don't get to pay for that. I don't get to counter that with my own Daze. I'm just taking a bunch of damage here. Oh, fucking yikes. I can counter that one at least. That is their second spell. They get another monk. 2 days. Play this. Pass turn. I just don't get past this wall of monks. My opponent's creatures have prowess and mine don't. I'm just gonna do this. More answers to Quarry Steel Cutter, please. Wrath of the Skies, Sheltered by Ghosts are both great. And then there is a second tier of things that I can think about. Lavinia can help with baubles, technically. Meddling Mage could name Quarry Steel Cutter. Neither of those are super exciting. This is where I want Brimaz. So I guess what's bad? My cards don't look that bad on paper. I just get buried by Quarry Steel Cutter. Mockingbird is slightly worse than normal. I might just do this. I have a removal spell. I have decent threats. I have my Singleton Brainstorm. Unexciting, but fine. I will just start by surveilling. It's medium. I'm going to take it, but it's medium. Wasteland, you've got it. Gonna throw down Caracas and pass here. I will probably do a Dazeable Swords if my opponent plays a creature. I think I just need to play things on curve. Nice. This is just going to be a Tundra. Otherwise, I get Wastelanded off of a color. My opponent junks Caracas. Now, I don't think my opponent has a counterspell, so doing Voice of Victory is less important here. But I still might do it because playing it out now means that Guide of Souls is better. Oh, my opponent had a daze and either did not do it or F6'd through the tail end of their turn. Delta and pass. I would like to hit another land drop here if possible. Opponent might be blasting this. I will daze. I have 3 mana available to me this turn. This is like not bad. Put 2 Sheltered by Ghosts on top. So yeah. Let's do this around daze. Yeah. Let's not, actually. Alright. I have 3 bodies on the field. I have Guide of Souls, Ocelot, Pride, and my Cat Warrior can't really be blocked. Okay, cool. So we just ran my opponent over very quickly there. And I had back-to-back, what is it? Sheltered by Ghosts coming. I have a single land here, which is not good. I will mulligan this one. Alright, deck. We'll go to 5. I'm back to a single land. I will be keeping at this stage. And I just kind of hope that I overwhelm my opponent on low resources. Sheltered by Ghosts goes back, and I don't have mana to crack these clues, so I think Tamiyo is going to go back. I would love to hit a land drop, specifically a fetch land, so I can play this game on 2 basics. Hell yeah. So, I'm gonna fetch. Am I getting fucking stifled here? Alright, you got it. I will get my own DRC, but theirs will be better than mine. Their deck is built around it, and mine is not. Sure. So I will go ahead and Mockingbird, make my DRC. This is not how I want this game to be playing out. My hand is so good if this is a real land. As is, I think my opponent is going to very easily eat me alive. There's a land drop to clear, and a Corey Steel Cutter. That card is going to eat me alive. I'm going to block this while I have the opportunity to make that trade. And I'm going to quickly die. I'm not going to play Mockingbird as a 1/1 flyer. Okay. We're going to skip the next couple of minutes. GG's, you've got it. Alright, final round here. I have no lands in the opener. This is not good. I'm going to keep this and hope that Brainstorm saves my ass. I'll pitch Sheltered by Ghosts here. Or Polluted Delta. A Tamiyo. Okay, I will Swords that. I don't get to Wasteland immediately, but I can at least Swords around days. Cool. Tundra. Swords Tamiyo. Unclear whether or not this is currently worth Lotus Petal. I'm going to say no. Delta from my opponent. I can hide Guide of Souls. I'm just going to say that that resolves. Opponent takes it. Tundra is not what I am looking for here. Try to find a fetch land, clear this stuff. Did not. I did find some reasonable cards, though. Bury Mockingbird. Put Voice on top. Play Tamiyo around a daze. Opponent brainstorms in response. Tamiyo sticks. Nice. I'm not excited here because Entomb plus Reanimate can just happen instantly. Ooh, that makes it less likely that my opponent is playing Reanimator. So I am now going to attempt to stick a Voice of Victory. Alright, it's in play, so my opponent doesn't get to cast spells here. Send him. You know, I am feeling a Brainstorm. So Bowmasters in response. You don't get to cast spells. Yes. Go back 1 and 2. Transform Tamiyo into Planeswalker Tamiyo. Plus Planeswalker Tamiyo. And play Creature Tamiyo. Yeah, Tamiyo good card. Tamiyo good card. Fatal Push on Voice. This is just still so much value for me. So send in. Okay. I am still just getting a clue here. That's not the end of the world, but I guess I could have seen that coming. Voice. Plus, so Ice Fang Coatl doesn't do anything to my Tamiyo, and we're just hoping to plus Tamiyo one more time and then draw my deck. Opponent won't be able to surprise me with Bowmasters if Voice of Victory is still in play. Changeling Outcast. Are we ninjas? Feels like we are ninjas, or very heavy on Kaito or something. I just make another voice here, I think, and plus up Tamiyo. It may take a couple of turns before I actually ultimate this Tamiyo if some sort of ninja or Kaito comes down. Bowmasters. Annoying. That pings Tamiyo to 7. Opponent brainstorms. Now the Changeling Outcast is an orc. Heads up. So if you're wondering why there was not an orc army token created, it is because my opponent already had an orc. And the outcast does send in. I can't block it, obviously. Guide of Souls. So I play that. I can make a very large amount of energy by attacking, but that doesn't feel like it would be good for me. I think I am supposed to draw a card here at the cost of a Tamiyo loyalty and a Changeling Outcast counter. Yeah. Effectively uncounterable. Tamiyo plus again. I have a bunch of outs to this Bowmaster. I do have to draw one. Or just find enough raw power that I can start attacking in through the Ice Fang Coatls. It does not take too much. Seems good. I don't know why my opponent is making decisions before casting their cantrips. There's a fetch land to clear that Brainstorm. Tamiyo is loyalty neutral right now. I'm going to plus for 2 and get attacked for 2. Let's surveil land here. Do not want a land. Tamiyo starts being loyalty negative if I crack this clue. I can Tamiyo minus get swords and give up Tamiyo. Might be fine. I was really hoping to win the game with this Tamiyo, but it does not look like that's happening. Now that that is gone, I can safely crack this. No, I can't get Bowmastered. Ooh, nice. Should have thought about whether or not I needed to play that land a little bit harder than I did. Let's yield to all energy generating abilities. Do I want to attack with Voice of Victory? So I have 3, 6, 9. The Ocelot Pride token is the 10th, and I copy them. I could attack, give up Voice of Victory to an Ice Fang Coatl, and then attempt to copy the tokens that I get. Gain a bunch of energy. I don't know that I need to do that. Cats. And if I want, that same line is still available to me next turn. We've got a fetch. That's presumably clearing the Brainstorm from the previous turn. So goodbye, Tamiyo. Now what? There are no surprises. Voice of Victory does not like surprises. Ooh, I lose Ocelot Pride. Another counter on Changeling Outcast. Days is not great. I'm fine sending in with the cat tokens. I'm also fine making them more annoying. My opponent can't really get rid of both of their Ice Fang Coatls, right? Or Voice of Victory just kind of gets free reign. I'm fine trying to force the action on one of them. 14. Ooh. That probably means Kaito. And I can't block this. Oh, it's Yuriko instead. Yuffie from Final Fantasy VII. Alright. So my opponent gets 2 cards here. Sewers and Tamiyo. Tamiyo won't be Dazable, but Ice Fang Coatl will be. And I think I do this like this. Returning this to hand to reuse it. That is Force of Will pitching the Tamiyo. This is, I think, the first opportunity that my opponent has had to Force of Will something all game. It's annoying that this is back in play and I can't just attack in for a bunch of damage here. Really hoping for that. Island is not what I am looking for. Tamiyo at this stage is not what I am looking for. I need removal. I don't think I can lose Voice of Victory. I think it's too important. I'll send in with a cat and pass the turn. Opponent's at 12. Maybe this one slipped away when I didn't just like go for the Swords to Plowshares like immediately on Bowmasters and tried to wiggle my way through while trying to win the game with Tamiyo. Can't block either of those. Now it is a Kaito as well. I don't think I can win from here. There's 2 Yuriko triggers, Thoughtseize, and Prismatic Vista. My opponent can have a Kaito emblem or an extra card here, both of which are very good, and I'm at 8 life. And there's another Bowmaster. Yeah. They forgot to activate Kaito. Yep, sure doesn't matter, but they did. That one's maybe winnable if I navigate that differently. Alright, removal spell is good. I might play Wrath of the Skies to clear out things like Changeling Outcast, but it comes at the cost of my Guide of Souls and Ocelot Prides and stuff. Maybe that's not actually great. Yeah, maybe that's not actually great. I'm just going to trim a couple of Brainstorms here in the face of Bowmasters. I mean, what if though? This feels like too much collateral damage. I'm actually going to do this. Fuck Brainstorm. Yes. Makes a lot of cats. An unhealthy number of cats, even. Alright, opponent is on 6. I have a cat. Womp. I do not have a cat. I have a cat. Fetch. I have a more other cat. I don't have a cat. So now do I play Mockingbird and Swords, or just Mockingbird on Bowmasters? If it resolves Mockingbird on Bowmasters is very, very, very good. Not that Ocelot Pride double triggers isn't. But my opponent, in theory, wants to draw a bunch of cards. So let's try this. Good Force of Will. So no attack this turn, I'll pass. My opponent only has 2 cards left in hand. Ninjas aren't doing their thing yet. Don't have a cat. I will take 3 damage. What's my plan? Brazen Borrower, Sheltered by Ghosts, a Bowmaster. Swords the other. Opponent's got blue mana now. 3 basics. No blocks. THO is the hexproof one. So this is annoying. 11. I'm going to try to resolve Brazen Borrower here. This means that my opponent gets to know it's coming when it surveils, but it means that they can't Force of Will plus blue card this. Alright, we're in. Sheltered by Ghost is insane because it lets me attack and kill the THO. Ooh, top there. Ooh, that's even better, honestly. Bowmasters. Yeah. King THO. Get my Orc. Go to Punchies. Finish off THO. THO is dead. Have respectable removal as follow-up. Land, sure. Alright, cool. I'll just go to my turn. Oh shit. Well, for those of you that love Orcish Bowmasters, I think it is a delight. I bet you are enjoying this. For everyone else who plays a deck entirely with 1/1 elves, you probably have other thoughts. Bowmaster, a Bowmaster. Go to Punchies. Punchies. I don't think I'm endangering this in combat. Good enough to get a response. You like to play an Ice Fang Coatl? I will get 2 pings out of that shit. As a fatal push, that's fine. I mean, that means my Bowmasters aren't getting fatal pushed, right? 15. What game are we in? I just realized my opponent is down like 7 minutes on clock from where I'm at. That's fine. I think at this stage, I'll do this. Do I smell blood? I feel like I smell blood. My opponent has 1 card left. Get out of here. Send in for 5. Gain a little bit of life. My opponent's cantrips are offline. Yuriko is a 1/3. Batch. Do archive. I mean, surely I keep it, right? Now, this does not have flash. I think another Bowmaster is better than Yuriko. Go to face. And that is enough for my opponent. They've got 7 minutes on clock. That should be plenty for the next game. Yeah, but I really enjoyed my 3 copies of Orcish Bowmasters in my blue-white deck. Thank you for asking. Still kind of on the fence about this. I am happy to keep this hand. I have a 1-drop creature, a Voice of Victory to follow it up, and an Orcish Bowmasters and a removal spell for some ninja. Alright, this is great. This means that I get to make the first offensive play. Brazen Borrower is not a bad pickup. I will have a lot of agency, and it seems like my opponent does not have counterspells. Ooh, no play this turn either. There's some very good lines available to me. I think I am just interested in Voice of Victory here. It lets me know whether or not an Orcish Bowmaster is coming and potentially forces out a counterspell now. You got, if I force out the Bowmaster now, then I can have my own Bowmaster. Hey, it's Bowmaster. So I get pinged. Voice of Victory hits play. I think I'm just going to hold back. My next turn is crazy. Underground Sea. Onder is fine. I don't have my Bowmaster yet. It's coming. Onder shuffles. Oh, if opponent is passing the turn there without using any mana, that is so nice for me. Because they don't get to use it on my turn. They are using mana. I lose a friend. I believe Guide of Souls is going down and I keep Voice of Victory. It's just so much safety. So I get to play uncounterable Orcish Bowmasters and kill your Orcish Bowmasters. And then I get to play uncounterable Tamiyo. And then I get to attack in for 3. And opponent just takes it. So now I have 3 different kind of must-answer cards. I have blockers so my opponent can't cheat a ninja in. I have a Daze for a hard-cast Kaito. This is a very, very, very strong position for me. And that's before we even start talking about the fact that I have 2 more removal spells. See what you can do, though. A Dress Down. Yes. That removes the ability of my Bowmasters, allowing my opponent to draw their card. Oh, is that it? That's not great if that's it. I guess there could be a Bowmaster after the Dress Down leaves play, in which case I daze that. And it's savage. It is another Dress Down. The opponent wants me to not have these abilities for my own turn. That feels like it is worth a daze. That's a force pitching a Kaito. That's fine. Opponent has the Dress Down shields. I don't even know that I do anything about that. I can. I think I just accept that I'm missing a clue and a little bit of damage. I don't know that it is worth giving up Sheltered by Ghosts. It's a bit of a premium card. Now abilities are back online. Opponent has Snow Covered Forest and throws in the Towel. What is that, a 4-1, a 3-2? That is a 3-2 finish. Solid. Alright, let's wrap this one up. What do we think of Sean's blue-white energy deck? Honestly, pretty darn good. We didn't get to Brimaz today, which I'm a little sad about. I like the changes that I made to the deck a lot. I think Tamiyo is useful. Now, we're never going to cut Brimaz from the deck, of course, but hypothetically, a 20th land might be good. I mulliganed quite a few hands that did not have lands, and you have Brainstorm for when you flood out. And having added Tamiyo to the deck, you have more to do with your mana. I'm not sure how good Brazen Borrower is. It is certainly not bad. I wonder where we fall on the like Brazen Borrower versus Sheltered by Ghosts versus extra Ajani's spectrum. But this core seems very solid. So Sean, if you already own Tamiyos, give them a shot in this deck. I think you'll probably like them. If you don't own Tamiyos, they are a little bit expensive. I think they are $30 or $40 each, somewhere in that general ballpark. Sideboard felt solid. Feel a little weird about Wrath of the Skies. It is conceptually a good card, but I was very worried about using it because sweeping up all of my 1-drops is such a serious problem. I might consider cutting Wrath of the Skies for another piece of graveyard interaction, maybe something that comes down faster than Rest in Peace. But generally speaking, I'm going to give this one a thumbs up. This was a lot of fun to play. It was pretty solid. I think I made some mistakes in piloting it, but very good first outing with the deck. And with that, I think I am going to call it a day here. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any thoughts about the deck building for Sean, throw them down in the comments below. See ya!